Hi, I'm Andrew Brooks. Welcome to part 3 of a look through my Beatles collection. We're now on to 1966 and 1967 of my 7-inch singles. Got some really nice little tidbits for you to see today. Hope you enjoy it. Carry on watching. Hi there. As I said, we're now up to 1966 and 1967. However, I do need to go back just to correct something from my previous video of 1965 and 1964. I did actually show you this 1964 If I Fell backed with Tell Me Why, and I forgot to mention that this is actually, I don't know if you can see it, this is actually an export single. It's got the catalogue number of DP562. This was never actually issued as a single in the UK, and this was exported out. So that's the export copy of If I Fell backed with Tell Me Why. As I said, not released as a single in the UK, but this was pressed up in the UK and then exported out. Just thought I'd cover that because I hadn't mentioned it in the previous video. Okay, moving on to 1966-ish, going into 1967. My first one is, I believe, Italian. I'm just trying to check it now. Looks Italian to me. Yes, Beatles, Italia. So it's Girl backed with Nowhere Man on the parlophone. What a great picture, taken from the one of the videos that was filmed. Nice to see it in colour though. Great. Girl, Nowhere Man. That's the Italian single. And then on the back they've got a list of some of the albums in Italy, including Beatles in Italy, which did appear in the 80s, I believe, as a reissue over in the UK, but was out in Italy during the 60s. This is the Italian parlophone, missing the E. So that's Nowhere Man, and then on this side we've got Girl. As I said, quite a nice picture sleeve. That's something which we are slowly coming onto with the British releases. Obviously, Strawberry Fields being the first. Moving on now, I've got this demo disc here, Dick James Music. Don't get excited. It is Girl by the Beatles, but it's by a band called The Truth. When I saw this in a record shop, I thought I'm going to have to get it, just purely because it's a Dick James Music demo disc, and it's a Beatles song done by The Truth. I do believe it actually came out as a single in 1966. Unfortunately, it's not the Beatles singing it. However, I have played it once just to see what it sounded like. It's okay. It's all right. It's a single-sided, as you can see. On the other side, it's just a blank disc. But that's The Truth with the Beatles song. No, sorry, Girl. Okay, moving on to America now, which is our next destination. Another great picture sleeve. As is with all the American releases really. As you can see, this is Yesterday and Act Naturally. Quite an old photo there, probably for the time, but that's the usual capital swirl, Yesterday, and then that side is Act Naturally. My sleeve is in pretty good nick actually. Very pleased to pick that up in the 90s, and I had a little buying spree when I visited America on the East Coast. Yeah, very nice. Okay, going back to the UK, as you can see, just a regular parlophone sleeve. Day Tripper backed with We Can Work It Out, which is probably where that, thinking about it, that colour photo from the Italian single come from, one of those videos there. I forget which one it is, so many. But that's the usual parlophone issue. It's got the rights sold in the UK subject to sale price, etc., etc., printed in the middle there. And it's just on a regular sleeve. Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out. Okay, skipping ahead to another parlophone single, but not by the Beatles. It's Cilla Black. The A-side is Love Is Just a Broken Heart, which is not a Beatles song. However, on the flip side, on the B-side, she does a version of Yesterday. Hence the reason I bought it, and as you can see, the shop have got it written up. Lennon McCartney flip side, from Memory Lane Records in Morden in Surrey. So if anyone ever shopped there, Who knows, this could have been yours. But it's still a black with Love Is Just a Broken Dream, but on the B-side is Yesterday. Moving on, we're going back to the States now, and the next one is Nowhere Man and What Goes On. It's the photo, I believe, is from Beatles for Sale sort of time, from here in the UK anyway. That's the actual record, in really nice condition. I'm really pleased. There's a lovely clean label there, and the sleeve is in really good nick as well. Same picture on both sides, like that. But yeah, it's a little bit tatty across the top, I've just noticed. It's okay though, it's not bad. There's a couple of little staple marks, so I wonder if this had one of them little hangers that I had on one of the other records there. Now, I always said that the American singles came in really nice picture sleeves, and the only picture sleeves we had for that really was EPs. And unfortunately, I've got an EP here. I'm missing the picture sleeve, so hence it's just in a black sleeve. This is the Yesterday EP, and it's got Yesterday, Act Naturally, You Like Me Too Much, and It's Only Love. Unfortunately, I'd love to get the sleeve. If anyone's got a spare sleeve they wish to donate, original. I have a reissue one, but these are original 60s records. So until I get hold of one, I'm afraid it's just sitting in a regular black sleeve. I'm keeping my eyes open though. Still in the UK, we now have paperback writer on the standard parlophone, backed with Rain, and now we have a slightly different reverse, Fran the Fan. It's like a little comic strip storyline, nothing to do with the Beatles, but that was the parlophone sleeve at the time of paperback writer and Rain. Great videos there that just come out just recently. They've been around for years, I know, but they've just been out over the past few years. Having a look at the US copy of paperback writer and Rain, another picture sleeve with live pictures from a concert, presumably in the States. The same pictures on the B-side as well, but this is paperback writer and Rain from America. Unfortunately, someone's written some numbers and it's got a bit of writing on the back sleeve as well, but on the whole, not a bad condition record. Very pleased to have that. Again, great picture sleeve. Moving on, this is the UK issue of Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby, and again just the regular parlophone sleeve, and it's gone back to the usual sleeve, no Fran the Fan this time. Nice to see that the Americans are also mirroring our the UK singles, although they do obviously have it, they do issue more in the States, sort of album tracks and things like that than what we had over here. But that's the British version of Yellow Submarine. And moving on to the American version. There we are. Yellow Submarine, back with Eleanor Rigby. Probably not such a colourful shot for the picture sleeve. And as you can see, this has got some ring wear on it, and this is what I always say, why I keep my records, 7-inch singles at least, separate from the covers. So although that's damaged, it won't get any worse damage because I now keep them separate. But this has actually belonged to he's written his name on the sleeve, on the label, Mark Levinson. So Mark Levinson, if you're watching this, I've got your record. Don't know how you came to give it up. Maybe you just didn't like Yellow Submarine. Maybe you needed some cash, I don't know. But I bought this in the States again, about 96-ish sort of time. Mark Levinson, don't worry, it's perfectly safe. It's here in my collection. Sticking with Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby, we now have a German pressing on the Odeon label. Nice picture sleeve there, probably better than the American one, I think. It's got a nice group shot, live shot, or from a TV performance on the Odeon label, and on the reverse it gives you a list of all the singles that have come out from the Beatles, and albums as well. It's quite a nice thing to have. It's on a green Odeon label. That's Eleanor Rigby side. and that's the Yellow Submarine side. It says Radio Columbia, so whether this belonged to a radio station, I've got no idea. So a little sticker up there, maybe someone out there knows what Radio Columbia was, but this is a German issue of Yellow Submarine. Okay, slipping back in time a little bit, I believe, we have another EP. This one is not English, so this is on the Odeon label, and it's French actually. Quite a nice picture sleeve there though, from Ticket to Ride. It's got Ticket to Ride, Babies in Black, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, and Yes It Is. So again, it's from a few old songs on there on the Odeon label, on the French Odeon though. There we are, so it's on a red label there. Same on the reverse. As I said, it's got a nice colour photo there, sort of a mirror image of them in their Eskimo outfits, and that's the reverse. But it's a really nice clean sleeve. Very pleased with that one. I've got no idea where I picked this up. Okay, now I promised you some delicious little tidbits, and you probably thought the demo disc on Dick James Music was it, but I've actually got another one here. It's a white label demo disc, white label test pressing on EMI discs of Strawberry Fields Forever, and on the B side is Penny Lane. Just show you that again. Hopefully you can see it nice and clear. Now, I have played this once, just the once, because obviously it doesn't do your stylus much good, and it probably doesn't do the record much good because it's quite fragile. I played it once, both sides, just to make sure it's not a different mix or if it's not a different version, and I can assure you this is just the regular single version, single mix. There's no difference to that and the release single. However, it is a white label test pressing of a Beatles record, and it's probably one of my choice bits in my collection. I've had this probably now for nearly 30 years. I remember buying it in a second-hand shop, and Chris, the guy who owned the shop, he'd snuck it in the Beatles section. So when I flicked through, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa! Anyway, he deliberately put it in there for me. He knew that I was going to get it. So there we are, Strawberry Field, and it is actually just says Strawberry Fields rather than Strawberry Fields Forever. And on the B side, Penny Lane, probably one of my top bits in my collection. Love it. As I said, it is just the same as the British version, and we do have the British version here. So this is the very first ever 7-inch single issued in the UK with a picture sleeve of the Beatles. Nice picture there. It doesn't tell you what the title is until you turn it over, and then there's pictures of the four of them as children, and it's got Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever. Obviously they're children because these are all childhood places from John and Paul, where they used to play, and near where they lived. And here we have, I'll put the sleeve down, 2 copies of the same record. They are both originals. However, one has got a push-out centre, as you can see, and the other has got a solid centre. I've got no idea of if anyone's worth more than the other, or if anything's more valuable than the other, but they are the same. Just one has got a centre you could push out and use in a jukebox, and one is a solid. Nice sleeve though, and that was our very first UK 7-inch single sleeve. Moving on. Now we have All You Need Is Love with Baby You're a Rich Man. Now I do know that some of the versions of this have from the live transmission. This one doesn't have it on there. I'm pretty sure I've probably got one around with it. I just don't have it to hand. This is All You Need Is Love. Again, slightly different parlophone sleeve, and on the back is a different sleeve design for Baby You're a Rich Man. Again, the sleeve design is nothing to do with the Beatles. It was just a generic parlophone sleeve that they issued at the time. However, the Americans again have taken Sgt. Pepper pictures and used them for the All You Need Is Love and Baby You're a Rich Man sleeve on Capitol. There it is, the Capitol swirl, orange and yellow swirl. I think it's Quite a nice sleeve, really. There we are, Sergeant Pepper pictures. Okay, going off at a slight tangent now. We have a Rolling Stones record. Rolling Stones, Beatles, yeah, I know. I don't get it myself, the so-called competition between the Stones and the Beatles, but anyway, this is Rolling Stones with We Love You, and if you're an aficionado or if you're a Beatles fan, you probably know that Paul and John appear on this 7-inch single somewhere. I have to say I'm not a big Stones fan, so I've probably never actually played this to hear where they are, if you can actually hear them. Maybe someone could leave a comment to say, oh yeah, if you listen at 1 minute 3 you can hear them singing or something like that. But it's on the UK Decca label. It's back with Dandelion. No Beatles connection on that side as far as I'm aware. But We Love You by the Rolling Stones, featuring John Lennon, Paul McCartney. Okay, rattling through them now. Okay, this is Hello Goodbye and I'm the Walrus from, well, I'm the Walrus is certainly from the Magical Mystery Tour film. Hello Goodbye, the single. And as you can see, once again, a slightly different 7-inch single sleeve, big M, something about lipstick in all your colours. I've got an advert on the back. So this is the UK Hello Goodbye and I'm the Walrus. Now, I'm the Walrus was, as I said, in the Magical Mystery Tour film, and next up is the EP, UK EP. So I'll just put the records down here. I do actually have 2 of these. This is the mono one and this is the stereo one. So the records have got slightly different mixes on the tracks. You can hear difference in the tracks. But for those of you who have never seen one, this is the front cover, Magical Mystery Tour. It's very similar. It's basically a shrunk down version of the American album. It wasn't issued in the UK as an album until the 70s. So there we are. And there's a slot there to put one of the records in. And as I say, it is literally just a replica of the American Magical Mystery Tour album. And then when we get to the centre pages, which are just coming up now, we've got the lyrics on a coloured sheet. This is light blue. I do believe there's quite a few different coloured sheets, green, yellows, and things like that. As I say, it mirrors the American album. It's just a shrunk down version of it to 7-inch single size. And then there's the back, and then that's the slot for a second EP. It was a double EP issue. So that one there is the mono one. I don't know if you can see at the top. It says mono and MMT. And then on the stereo one, which is exactly the same on the inside. No difference to the layout. I'm just going to see what colour lyrics these ones are, to see if they're on a different colour. It's been so long since I had a look. Oh no, this is on light blue as well. There we go. But if you look carefully on the back, it says stereo, SMMT. Other than that, they're identical. The records are different though. So if you are interested in the different mixes, I would highly recommend getting one of each. I'm sure they're available reissues quite relatively cheap now, but these are original 60s issues, and that's basically it for 66 and 67. Hope you enjoyed a bit more of my collection, and I'll be seeing you on episode 4. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I really would love you to subscribe to my channel so you get to hear immediately when there's another video being released. Thank you, thanks for watching, have a good day.